All right, here's more from Jayden Daniels from the Keyshawn Johnson podcast, and we rewind a few weeks to the Top Golf Cluster Fudge, where they brought in the 4 top quarterbacks for a visit at the same time. And we eventually drilled this down to what was my first instinct. The owner was available those days to meet with those 4 guys, so that's why they all came in at the same time instead of them each getting their own day. But at the same time, others visited. They did the Top Golf excursion the night before the official visit. Here's Jayden Daniels on the question of how he felt about this concept of all the quarterbacks coming to town at the same time.
I was cooling because I just left the Giants and flew to Washington.
Okay.
And I knew all those guys there, so it was like it was it. Like I ain't really tripping. It just felt like a big recruiting visit, was what it kind of was. Like they would just tell me like, yeah, I don't really want like the visit to be all uptight about football. Like they want to, let us have fun, because we've been going through this for so long. And that's something that they took from the Niners and stuff like that and other teams. It was just different because it was 4 of the top 5 quarterbacks there, which, kind of blew up on social media. So that's the only thing that was different.
Well, it didn't blow up on social media. It blew up in the minds of folks who look at this saying, what the hell are you doing? You've got your chance to get a franchise quarterback. If you're truly going to explore 4 different guys, you take full advantage of your opportunity. You got 30 visits you can do. You bring them in on separate days, and you do your due diligence with them. And this idea that it was sold as some kind of a bonus, that's what drives me crazy. I mean, I'm always on the search for BS. They didn't do this as a favor to them. This was what the Commanders decided, for whatever reason, was the best way to burn these 4 visits and bring these guys in together because they believed there was going to be some way to pierce through whatever armor these guys carry around for these visits to try to impress teams and get to whatever it is they think they're going to find when they have them all together. And part of the justification, and plenty of people in the media worked overtime to carry water for the Commanders to justify this idea that let's see how they interact. Well, why? Who cares? So it worked. They fooled them, I guess. But the reality is they're not doing this for you. They're never doing it for you. It's a recruiting visit. They don't have to recruit you. They're going to draft you. There is no recruiting involved. This is, we are going to pick one of you guys, and we came up with a way to try to figure out which one of you we should pick or which one maybe we shouldn't pick. Maybe they wanted to just confirm that Jayden Daniels was the right guy. So let's bring these other 3 guys in here. Let's waste their time so we can confirm that Jayden Daniels was the right guy. Regardless, they weren't doing it for the benefit of the players. That's a lie. They were doing it for the benefit of themselves.
I have no doubt, Mike, they have made up their mind that Jayden Daniels was the guy, and whatever they wanted to see in that visit, I guess they got it confirmed that he was the guy. But I have no doubt that we all knew, everyone knew. It's like maybe last year we kind of sort of knew, but you knew who the number 1 overall pick was going to be. So they had their choice of the rest of the quarterbacks. You knew they were going to draft a quarterback. It was just a matter of which one. But I think they had settled on Jayden Daniels. I'd be curious to know when they settled on Jayden Daniels, how early in the process. But I guarantee you it was before that visit. And I don't know what they possibly got out of that visit. I don't know what they got out of bringing the other guys in with Jayden Daniels. I guess if it was a test maybe for Jayden Daniels, and if he failed the test, maybe they go back and start doing other research on these guys. But they had already settled on Jayden Daniels by the time those guys visited.
I think at the end of the day, and look, the owner was involved at the scouting combine in the meetings with the quarterbacks. And Bob Myers, is that the guy who was with the Golden State Warriors? He was involved in this process too.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was sitting there at the elbow of Josh Harris, but J.J. McCarthy, when he was on with Rich Eisen right before the draft, he kind of inadvertently, in a backhanded way, confirmed what I was thinking. This ultimately was about one thing. This is when the owner's available. That's why we're bringing these guys in. Again, it's the benefit of the team. They're not doing it to help the players. And if the benefit was, and I reject this idea, we wanted to see how they would interact with each other. No, The boss wanted to see them, and the boss owns 3 different sports teams, and he has other interests. He's not only the football team all the time. So he's here for one day, and he wants to see these guys. And he wants to compare and contrast them. You bring in one after the other. We're interviewing applicants for this job. It's all a big job interview. They say that all the time to justify all the crap they put these guys through. Well, it is a big job interview. And you're interviewing with the boss. This is the face of the franchise. We're going to have all 4 of them come in one after the other, and the boss is ultimately going to sign off on Jayden Daniels, or he's not. After he meets with Jayden Daniels and J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix and Drake May, period. So that's what it was. That's what it was. And thank you, Pete. It didn't blow up on social media just spontaneously or recklessly. Now, my first thought when I heard it, even though I heard it through the lens of someone in the media who was trying to justify it, I thought, that's a load of crap. This isn't some cool, great, oh, how cool. Oh, what a cool thing. It's not a cool thing. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. And it's for the benefit of the owner's ability to meet with all 4 guys. Then Ron Butler, the same Ron Butler who is the agent for Jayden Daniels, retweeted our clip when we were talking about how weird this is and unconventional in a bad way this is. He did it with the dude scratching his chin in emoji. I don't know how best to articulate it, but I'll go with dude scratching his chin in emoji. That's what blew it up. When Jayden Daniels' agent expressed something other than, hey, this is cool to the world, that's how it blew up. His agent had misgivings. So ipso facto, I don't know if that fits there, but I just like saying ipso facto. Ipso facto, the player had misgivings, either on his own or as influenced by the person to whom he's entrusted his professional career. Hey, this is weird. Hey, Jayden, this is weird. You think they're doing you a favor? This is weird. Something's weird about this. Maybe we shouldn't want to play for a team that does weird stuff. So that's where it all came from. That's where it all came from. So this was an unforced error by the Commanders, flowing from the fact that the owner, and all these owners want to act like they let the others cook the stew. Most of them, if not all of them, got a big-ass spoon in the stew, and they stir. Whether they try to or not, they stir. This was Josh Harris wanting to stir the stew as it related to confirming that Jayden Daniels was the guy. That's my theory. That's my opinion. And I've seen nothing to change my mind. If anything, the things that have come out make that opinion even stronger.
It was a Daniel Snyder move, Mike. It is something that we probably would have seen with Daniel Snyder. The only thing that was different is the owner obviously didn't insert himself and make the pick at number 2. I think this was an Adam Peters pick and a organizational pick, as opposed to the owner stepping in and say, this is who you're going to pick. So he didn't change their minds. I think they were headed to Jayden Daniels all along, which Dan Snyder might have had a different choice after having those quarterbacks there and may have inserted himself and said, no, this is who you're picking at this point. But you're right. All owners, I mean, people point to Jerry Jones, who does have the GM title, but all owners insert themselves, or most owners insert themselves into the team, and they want to have a say in personnel. They want to know who you're picking, especially if it's a quarterback in the top 5. They want to know who that quarterback is. They want to have a say. They want to meet all the quarterbacks and figure out which one they want on their team, despite the fact that they don't watch enough film to know even what they're watching on these guys. So hopefully they listen, and hopefully Josh Harris will listen to his staff. He's got a really good staff in place, and hopefully that's the case.
It's like any business. If you own the business, you want to be involved in the big decisions. Even if your expertise, your background, your education, your training doesn't really qualify you to make those big decisions, you still want to be involved in them. Where are we going to build my factory? It's my factory. I should have some say in where the thing is going to be built, right? So I'm not saying that owners shouldn't be. What I love about this is how they try to hide behind the people they've hired to make those decisions when it hits the fan. Those are the people who get fired. That's why there's a certain authenticity and honesty in Jerry Jones being the GM of the Cowboys. He can't blame anybody but himself. Jimmy Haslam, who has a reputation for being involved, or the homeless guy that told him to draft Johnny Manziel being involved. You fire the GM when things don't work out, even if it came from you. That's the reality. So it's the pay no attention to that man behind the curtain, because the man behind the curtain is me influencing these people to do the things that they're held accountable for, not me. That's where the roots of dysfunction lie. And I understand why Commanders fans get salty when we point this out, because they just want to enjoy the fact that Ding Dong the witch is dead. I mean, if we're going to do Wizard of Oz metaphors, let's just go all out. They still want to sing Ding Dong the witch is dead, witch old witch, the wicked witch. Goodbye, Dan Snyder. Let us enjoy it, please. Quit telling us that the next one might be like him in certain ways. Not always, not the ways that got Dan Snyder run out the door, but in the football meddling ways. We don't want that. We don't want to know, we don't want to be burdened with this idea that we didn't do a full due diligence on the top 4 quarterbacks because the owner was only available one day to meet with them. Now, again, we both believe they had already zeroed in on Jayden Daniels. Chris Sims had been saying for weeks they should run to the podium with Jayden Daniels. This is part of the process of elimination. It just seemed odd, and it seemed strange. And we say so. We're not going to sit here and say, go Commanders. Everything you do is great. I'm not going to play that game. I'm never going to play that game. And it irritates me when I see others in the media play that game because they do it for access. They do it for information. It's so transparent. It's so obvious. They suck up. They carry water because they want to be able to get people to answer their texts. They want to get people to be interviewed on their podcasts or talk to them for their columns. So they suck up. And I'll let others play that game. I'm not playing that game. I'm straight with the audience at all times, even when the audience doesn't want to hear it, whether it's colonoscopies or whether it's the Commanders possibly not laying the foundation to win another 3 championships over the course of a decade like they did when Joe Gibbs was the head coach between 82 and 91. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.